Treetop Twins Wilderness Adventure by Cressida Cowell. The air was hot and full of noises as unseen animals squawked and howled from within the jungle. The Treetop family have taken their time machine back to the 16th century to the jungle island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. The Treetop family was searching for dodos, strange birds that live on Mauritius at that time. Where were dodos like? Asked Tulip. People used to think that dodos were heavy, slow, and a bit of nonetheless, explained Professor Penelope. But now is our chance to find out the truth. They had just reached a large clearing in the middle of the tangle of the jungle. A flock of birds was walking in the distance. Those can't be dodos, said Asha, looking through her binoculars. They're too thin. They are definitely dodos, replied Professor Penelope, and they don't look heavy at all. Now we mustn't get too close, whispered Professor Pablo. We mustn't disturb the dodos or touch them for their own safety. This is the perfect place to watch them from behind this rock. The dodos were wandering around the clearing, their beaks close to the ground. What are they doing? Asked Tulip. They're sniffing the ground, trying to pick up the smell of fruit, whispered Professor Pablo, very excited. So dodos are not normless either. Asha began to draw pictures of the dodos in the notebook. Ted had forgotten his pencils again. Will you lend me a pencil, Asha? Asked Ted. I want to draw them too. Why didn't you bring your own? Said Asha. I'm not going to lend one to you. Then next time you might remember. That's not very friendly, said Ted rather loudly. Shh, whispered Alfie. You might disturb the dodos, but it was too late. The dodos had lifted up their heads. They saw the Treetop family crouched behind a rock, and they started running towards them. They're just being friendly, said Professor Penelope. Unlike Asha, grumbled Ted. There are also predators on this island, said Professor Penelope, so the animals and birds won't be frightened if they see a human. And the dodos were friendly. And the dodos were very friendly indeed. They rushed towards the Treetop family in a very welcoming way. Little stubby wings outstretched so they could keep their balance, feathers flying. Don't get too close, warned Professor Pablo. We're not moving, protested Alfie. It's the dodos who are getting closer to us. Sure enough, the dodos came closer and closer and closer. Well, in that case, everyone, run! Decided Professor Penelope. So the whole Treetop family ran out of the clearing as fast as they could. They overtook the giant tortoise, making their slow way across the clearing, their long necks bearing out their shells. They overtook the skinks, basking on the rock in the sunshine. But however fast they ran, the dodos seemed to keep up with them. I guess that's proved them, puffed Professor Penelope, looking over her shoulder. Prove what? Said Tulip. The dodos aren't slow either, said Professor Penelope, panting and laughing as they headed back to the safety of the time machine. Nighttime on the island of Mauritius, the fruit bats fluttered through the jungle, and the parakeets screeched. The Treetop family were eating their supper under the stars. Asha showed everyone her dodo pictures. They all looked very impressed, apart from Ted, who was still a bit cross with her for not lending him a pencil. Asha felt bad, so she ripped out a page from the back of her book and gave Ted a pencil. Ted smiled and began to draw his own. So people were wrong about those dodos, said Tulip. They're not heavy or slow or normless at all. I was so wrong about Asha too, said Ted. She can be friendly at times. Not as friendly as those dodo, said Alfie. They were very, very friendly indeed. Maybe even a little too friendly. Asha's fact about dodos. Dodos lived on the island of Mauritius in the 16th century. Dodos were thinner than people thought, and cleverer too. They had very big kneecaps and strong legs, so they could run fast. This book is from McDonald. The end.